In the fall of 1963, Birmingham, Alabama, was a city on the edge. The civil rights movement was in full swing, with protests, marches, and a powerful call for change filling the air. Among them was a 16-year-old boy named Johnny Robinson. He wasn't a famous leader or a household name. He was just a kid, living his life in a city divided by hate. But on September 15, 1963, his story would become tragically intertwined with one of the darkest days in American history. To understand what happened to Johnny, you first have to understand Birmingham. In the 1960s, it was known as one of America's most segregated cities. Black residents lived under the constant weight of discriminatory laws, unequal schools, limited job opportunities, and daily indignities. Earlier that year, the world had watched in horror as peaceful protesters, including children, were met with police dogs and high-pressure fire hoses. The city was a powder keg of racial tension, and the fuse was getting shorter. Then came the morning of Sunday, September 15th. A bomb planted by white supremacists exploded at the 16th Street Baptist Church, a central hub for the civil rights movement. The blast killed 4 young girls who were inside preparing for church: Addie Mae Collins, Denise McNair, Carol Robertson, and Cynthia Wesley. The nation was horrified. For Birmingham's black community, shock and grief quickly turned to outrage. Protests erupted across the city. The streets filled with anger and sorrow. And in the chaos of that terrible day, another tragedy was about to unfold, one that would be largely lost in the shadows of the main event. So, who was Johnny Robinson? He was a typical 16-year-old, described by friends as energetic and full of life. He lived with his family in Birmingham. On that Sunday afternoon, just hours after the church bombing, Johnny was with a group of other black youths near a gas station. Tensions were incredibly high. Police were everywhere. One of those officers was a white policeman named Jack Parker. What happened next is a story that has been told in different ways, but the outcome remains the same. Officer Parker claimed that some of the teenagers were throwing rocks at cars driven by white people. He confronted the group. At some point, Parker fired his shotgun. Johnny Robinson was shot in the back. He died from his wounds. He was only 16. His death brought the number of black children killed in Birmingham on that single day to 5. In the aftermath, Officer Parker was never convicted for Johnny's death. A grand jury chose not to indict him. At the time, this was tragically common. The legal system in Alabama rarely held white officers accountable for violence against black citizens. For many, the message was clear and devastating. Black lives were not valued equally. While the bombing of the church sparked a national outcry and led to federal investigations, Johnny's story faded from the headlines. There were no major national campaigns for justice in his name. His life and his death became a footnote to the larger tragedy of the day. But Johnny's story reveals a crucial truth about the civil rights era. The fight for freedom wasn't just fought by famous leaders in televised marches. It was also paid for by ordinary people, by teenagers like Johnny, who were caught in the crossfire of systemic hatred and fear. The violence wasn't random. It was a tool used to maintain a deeply unjust system. The events of September 15, 1963, the bombing, and the deaths that followed were a turning point. The sheer brutality helped galvanize the nation and pushed lawmakers toward passing the historic Civil Rights Act of 1964. But the cost of that progress was immense, and Johnny Robinson was part of that cost. For many years, Johnny's name was overshadowed. The 4 girls killed in the church bombing became, rightfully, revered martyrs of the movement. But in recent decades, historians and activists have worked to ensure that all the victims of that day are remembered. Memorials and historical records now include Johnny Robinson's name, because the story of that day and of the entire movement is incomplete without him. So, why does his story still matter so much today? How do we ensure justice is applied equally to everyone? How do we hold powerful institutions accountable for their actions? And how do we make sure that we honor and remember the lives that history has tried to forget? Johnny Robinson's story is a powerful reminder that behind every historical event, behind every statistic, there are human beings. A son, a friend, a teenager with a future that was stolen from him. He never got the chance to vote, to graduate, to build a life for himself. His story is a vital piece of our shared history, a lesson in the human cost of hatred, and a call to never forget those who were lost in the long, hard fight for justice. Thank you for watching.